President Trump is ramping up his threats against Iran. The president wrote in part on Truth Social this morning, quote, "Hopefully Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. No nuclear weapons." He goes on to say, "As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse." Last night at an event in Iowa, the president reminded the crowd that the U.S. military is prepared to act.
And by the way, there's another beautiful armada floating beautifully toward Iran right now. So we'll see. I hope they make a deal.
Iran's mission to the UN responded on X. Iran stands ready for dialogue based on mutual respect and interest, but if pushed, it will defend itself and respond like never before. CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata joins us now. So, Charlie, so many exclamation points between world leaders online. After the attack in June, President Trump said Iran's nuclear facilities were obliterated. Now he says they need a deal. What's the status of their program?
Yeah, Lindsay, that's the word, right? Obliterated. We heard it time and again. It came from the defense secretary. It came from Joint Chiefs of Staff. It came from the president himself. Very specific word there. Not obliterated, because there was a lot of damage done to Iran's nuclear facilities. That's an understatement. You know, the B-2 bombers with these massive ordnance penetrators did a lot of damage to one or two of the main nuclear sites in Iran. But it is the case of the Iranians and the Iranian regime that as soon as the dust settles, literally and metaphorically, they're rebuilding again. And there's also a question of enriched uranium, which the United States and most intelligence analysts haven't quite determined where that was. A lot of it had been moved. There are other underground facilities, and the Iranians are pursuant of a nuclear weapon. And when the Israelis and the Americans attack Iran's nuclear facilities, either overtly or covertly, whether bombing it or taking out nuclear scientists or trying to get to the technology, it's always done in a measure of how far back has the program been pushed. So after the Operation Midnight Hammer over last summer, they believe it was probably 12 to 18 months. Judging from where they would be to attaining a nuclear weapon and the delivery platform to fire that nuclear weapon. So that is what it is. So they're still pursuant of a nuclear weapon. It's been pushed back, but the Trump administration continues to push and push and push the Iranian regime to give up their aspirations for attaining a nuclear weapon.
Based on your pulse check of the situation, how imminent does American action seem to be?
Well, Lindsay, so for the past few days, we've been monitoring the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier. It's called a carrier strike group. So it's not just the carrier itself with 4 squadrons of F-18 fighter jets, but it's got 3 missile-guided destroyers that are headed there. So as of, I think it was about 48 hours ago, it crossed into that, what the military calls CENTCOM, or Central Command. That is the region that includes Iran. So it is within striking distance. I was trying to do the math this morning. Travels at about 30 knots. When I asked officials today, I said, is it on station, as they say? Is it ready to fire, as it were? And they said, well, that's making an assumption on exactly where it's going. And I was told, when it shows up, you'll know about it. So it's got 3 destroyers with it. It's got cruise missiles. There are 3 destroyers that are already there. But when he said a great, beautiful armada, and he said this is even bigger than what we saw in Venezuela, it's not a fraction of that. But there's plenty of firepower within reach of Iran as we speak.
All right, Charlie D'Agata, thank you.